Whenever investors get worried about the big picture stuff like the trade war with China, I recommend falling back on your favorite long-term themes that will do just fine even in a worst-case scenario, a tariff-induced economic slowdown, which everyone's been buzzing about. Themes like the humanization of pets. Now, I keep pounding the table in the story, not just because I have 2 dogs, but because Americans now treat their dogs and cats like family, which means spending vast sums of money on their health care. That's why Idexx Laboratories, the #1 maker of diagnostic systems for animals, has been such a huge winner. This thing's up nearly 35% year to date, on top of a 19% run last year. And that's happened on hardly any news, aside from the fact that the company just keeps delivering. Idexx tends to report strong earnings. 3 weeks ago, they delivered a terrific beat and raised quarter. Really nice, fabulous growth, hence why the stock's been such a juggernaut. I think you can keep charging higher. You know I've been behind this all the way, but don't take it from me. Let's check in with John Ayers, the chairman, president, and CEO of Idexx Laboratories, get a better sense of his company's prospects. Mr. Ayers, welcome back to Man Body. Thank you, John. Have a seat.
Great to be back.
Okay, so, John, I'm talking with my wife, and she says, Jim, there's an article in the Times about a doggy cafe. It's gotten there, hasn't it? I mean, we now not only, if we're going to take them out to a fancy restaurant, we're going to make sure that their health care is tip-top.
If they're willing to spend on the restaurants, the healthcare has to come first, right? And you can get a puppy latte. Just don't feed that human food, because then you'll have a lot of Idexx diagnostics on your hands.
Ooh, didn't know that. That's good to know. A couple things that every time you come to play. Aging baby boomer dogs.
Well, you know, dogs get old, too, and they get old 7 times as fast as humans. You know, a dog 10 or 11 is geriatric,
and
let alone
NVIDIA is
senior.
12 years old now.
Oh, he's geriatric patient.
Yeah. Well, he uses a lot of your stuff, right?
Yeah, well, you got to make sure you do probably twice a year for a 12-year-old dog, including Idexx preventative care diagnostics. It's so important that the diagnostics are part of the annual wellness visit.
How many those pop-up vet stores have that wellness?
Well, you know what? They're beginning to address a part of the pet-owning population that's not traditionally gone to the full-service veterinarian. 1/3 of dogs do not get an annual visit, and 3/4 of cats. So we think the pop-up is sort of expanding, and they're also using our diagnostics.
Everyone tells me millennials have no money. If they do have money, it looks like what they're doing, and Gen Zs, they're spending more on pets.
Well, that's they're very attached to the pets. You know, 42% of millennials believe their pet has special health needs. That's more than double the percentage of baby boomers. They're in touch with their pets because, in fact, all pets have special health needs. So they're more likely to go to the vet more frequently and more willing to listen to an advanced standard of care.
I don't want to denigrate humans too much, particularly because I had a guest the other day from Novartis who said, well, we underestimate humans when it comes to artificial intelligence. But people are having fewer and fewer children, but they're not having fewer and fewer pets.
Well, sometimes the pets are the kids, right? You know, it's part of it's a family thing. You know, you have pets join you at the dinner table. If you're not taking them out to dinner, maybe they're at the dinner table at home.
Of course.
And cats, too.
All right, so let's talk about some of the things that the bundling services, obviously really helping your numbers, right?
Yes, yeah. We're unique in that we're both the leading reference lab provider where the tests are sent out, and the leading point of care where the tests are run on our point of care instruments right there as part of the exam. And so when we bundle those together in terms of a complete diagnostic offering, you put in our cloud-based solution. We're on the Google Cloud. We have the #1 app by far in the industry. You get the whole diagnostic history right there, whether you sent the results out or you had it run on your in-house lab.
Well, obviously you're quite confident because I can't find another company that has a 25-year animal diagnostic revenue. You're that confident?
Our runways, we're just at the beginning. Preventative care is only 10% adopted. We have another 10 years of placements of catalysts and our urinalysis, you know, with
the liquid gold.
The liquid gold. These are long runways of growth. The nice thing about demographics is you can predict them out for decades.
Right. Now, I always want people to understand the history of where we are, because my generation, the idea that the dog's sitting at the table is ridiculous. The dog used to be in the basement, whatever. But what is the adoption rate now versus what it used to be?
Well, actually, we're seeing a growing ownership, but the main thing is they're taking the vets more frequently to the pet. They realize that dogs and cats. But you know, this thing, it used to be the doghouse. When was the last time you had somebody have their dog sleep in the doghouse? Now we're talking about either the foot of the bed or on the pillow or maybe under the covers.
Yeah, I have all three of those for me. Now, you've got the weighted average year-to-year change per practice. It went down, but then it's come right back up. Total clinical visit grew. I mean, these are just consistent over the long term. Even when there's a dip and people sold your stock last time, it came right back.
Well, we think that the long-term trend is about 3% volume growth in visits. And then diagnostics is becoming more relevant. And then, of course, we're adding same-store sales on top of that, and we're adding share. That's what's giving us, in the first quarter, we had 11% recurring revenue growth in our diagnostics. In the U.S., 14%. Internationally, 12% blended. This is the virtuous cycle of recurring revenue growth.
And I thought also, I don't know how you really did it. I'm going to try to go over and over and over. How did you get your operating margin up 210 basis points with that level of growth?
Well, we do keep investing in the business, but that strong organic growth on profitable innovation that we're bringing, people are valuing it, and it just flows through. Sometimes we just can't invest fast enough, and we have a great quarter like we did in the first quarter.
Well, this question, I was at the Healthy Returns Conference yesterday for CNBC, and there was someone talking cannabis as being better than your arthritis medicine. Do you think cannabis is something you have to look at?
Well, it depends on it. If we're talking about, there are therapies. I think they're still pretty emerging,
Okay.
So we have to be, we have to be careful.
You don't have anything for a dog that eats wood or pens?
They eat everything. Well, and that's why our digital imaging business is so important, because we find it in the radiograph. What is that doing?
That's
there?
how we found the Bluestone coffee in Idiot Marley. We call him IM, Idiot Marley's stomach. I mean, thank you for what you do, because NVIDIA and Marley would not be alive if it were not for your company. Because they're so, well, that's John Ayers. He's Idexx Laboratories chairman, president, CEO. Boy, am I glad we stuck by with this, because this is one of the great secular growth themes of all time. Mad Money is back after the break. Booyah! Jim Cramer here from Mad Money. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube. Click here to subscribe and get the jump on my exclusives with CEOs, plus market news, investing advice, and a whole lot more.